Hey guys, I am so glad you're here watching this video. If you came from my Instagram or you just stumbled across this, welcome. So this is a video that has always been on my list of things to film for honestly like years now, but I never got around to it, and then over the past week it seemed a little more and more relevant. So I bumped it up to the top of the list. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all of my tips on working from home. Because I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you're one of the hundreds of thousands of people that is being told to work from home for the foreseeable future. Or maybe you're just someone who's always worked from home and you'd like some tips. Maybe you're a college student who just got told to work from home and do online classes the rest of the semester. And if you're like, who the are you to be giving work from home tips? Listen, I do not have all the answers, and I'd love to hear your tips and tricks down below in the comments, but what I can tell you is I've been working from home since 2016. Some of those years I was working from home full-time. Right now I work from home most days of the week. I do have the option to go into an office, but I only do that 1 to 3 times a week, just kind of depends on the week. And I just want to clarify, I am a graphic designer and art director. I don't do YouTube and Instagram and all that full time at all. That is not my job. This is my hobby, I guess. And everyone always thinks working from home is just so glamorous and you get to lounge in your PJs and watch Netflix like while you work. And yeah, there are definite benefits to working from home. I really like it, but there are also some very unique challenges. And just like going into an office has its challenges, working from home does as well. I'm going to try to cover a bunch of them today, just random tips and tricks that have helped me over the years. And I also had you guys submit questions and topics you want me to cover on Instagram, so I'll cover those as well. So if you're new here, I usually talk about makeup and skincare and acne and life. I have a ton of foundation review videos, declutters, and I'm a lot more active on my Instagram, which is linked down below in the description box. I like to talk about things like minimalism, sustainability, dating, my job, anything that's happening in my life, really. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so these tips are gonna cover everything from productivity to focus to motivation to cabin fever to mental health. Like, it's all over the board. And a lot of them, I'm just gonna warn you, sound obvious or dumb, but they make such a huge difference. If you don't think it's gonna make a difference, try it for a week. I promise you, it will. All right, step number 1, and I can't stress this enough, get dressed. Like this. Like this. Even if all you're putting on is leggings and a sports bra, put on clothes. Some people find it helpful to put on the same outfit that you would wear to the office. Personally, I'm a leggings person, but something that I do if I really need the extra motivation, and this is gonna sound weird, but I put on my tennis shoes. Even if I'm just sitting here working, there is something about having shoes on that makes you so much more productive. Another thing that I definitely do not do every day, but it is really helpful if you need the extra kick in the butt, is to put on my makeup. Even if I don't plan on seeing anyone that day, there is something about the ritual and the routine of putting your makeup on in the morning that kind of turns your brain on for the day and you just start to get into work mode. So especially those first couple weeks while you're still kind of getting into the groove of things, I highly recommend putting a little bit of makeup on in the morning if that's something that you usually do, because it will tell your brain, okay, we're getting ready for our day. Tip number 2, there's a plane, hang on. Tip number 2, open your blinds, your curtains, your windows if it's nice enough out. Get that sunlight coming in. Not only is it helpful to have as much sunlight as possible streaming in, it's way more helpful than you'd think to see the occasional car driving by or person walking by. I think you'd be surprised how many people you do end up seeing throughout the day. I face an alley and I see people coming and going all the time, people walking their dogs. Even just seeing cars driving down the street makes you feel less alone. And seeing other people out and about in the world is incredibly important for your mental health, even if you're not interacting with them. Another tip to feel less alone, which is a common feeling when you're working from home, is to play white noise. On Spotify or YouTube, you can find like coffee shop noise where it's kind of just like murmurs of people. I know a lot of people like to listen to like lo-fi music or any music that doesn't have lyrics. That works too, but if you are feeling lonely, I actually really do recommend putting on like coffee shop white noise music. It makes you feel like you're surrounded by other people. Okay, so the white noise was number 3. Now tip number 4, and I need you to say this one with me. Your bed is not your desk. Let's say it together. My bed is not my desk. One more time for the people in the back. My bed is not my desk. So a rule that I had to make for myself pretty early on was that I am not allowed to sit or lay in my bed during the daytime, period. Not at all. Not even for 2 seconds. So not only does this help you not get, a little too cozy, a little too comfy, a little too ready for a nap, I actually found that it helps immensely with helping me sleep at night if I wasn't in bed all day long or most of the day. I stopped working in bed so that I wouldn't take as many naps, and then I found out that it actually helped my sleeping at night more than it helped with anything else. So I'm never allowed to work in bed because we don't want to be associating bed with work. Bed equals sleep. And this kind of leads me into tip number 5. Tip number 5 is to keep some areas of your home separate and off limits during the workday. So I live in a tiny apartment, so my bedroom is really the only space in my home I can do this with, but I basically do not let myself go in my bedroom during the workday. One of the questions I got from you guys was how to avoid cabin fever, and this is one of the main ways I do that. It's to kind of keep some areas of your home new so that when you get home from work, which you're not, but when you get home from work, there are like new places that you're going in your home that your brain isn't associating with your workday. And this is definitely one of those tips that sounds kind of strange and like it wouldn't make that big of a difference, but if you actually try it, I really think you'll see what I mean. Tip number 6, and this is another really, really big one, put your phone in a different room. You can't see my desk right now, but my phone is not even out here. It is in my bedroom. So now more than ever, it's incredibly tempting to scroll your phone all day long, every day, to keep up with all the news about the coronavirus, to see what everyone's saying, to see how other people are reacting, to see all the updates because everything is changing so quickly. And even just on a normal day, like you just want to be checking your phone. And if your phone is next to you, you will scroll. So put your phone on loud so that you can hear if someone from work calls, and put it in one of the rooms that you're not allowing yourself to go in during the day. And you can check it at lunch. We'll get to that later. And at the end of the day. Now, if you're thinking, well, I need to be on my phone all day long, that's not really an option for me. What do I do? Because there are days I definitely need to be on my phone for work purposes. I feel you. I get you. What I recommend for that is to log out of all your social media accounts. Because when you mindlessly pick up your phone and start scrolling, you're going to get hit with that login screen. And it's going to snap you back into reality and remind you that you need to put the phone back down. And if that sounds like too much, not checking your phone throughout the day, do it for the first hour of work. Do it for the first 2 hours. Every day you'll be able to put it away for a little bit longer. But even just putting it in the other room for the first hour of your workday sets you off on the right foot and will help you get into work mode better. Okay, so this one's a question that I got from Instagram, and it's how do you do a lunch break when your workplace is also your break area? So tip number 7, the lunch break. Okay, so if you're like me, it's very tempting to cook when you're at home. And sometimes I do. But if you're the type of person that needs more structure, I highly recommend treating lunch the same way you would if you were going into the office. Make it the night before. And only cook something if it's super easy, like a sandwich. By prepping your lunch the night before, you can even put it in a lunch sack and put it in your fridge. If that helps you, it will keep you in work mode. And more importantly, it will help you not get sidetracked by, okay, I cooked lunch, and then I need to clean up lunch. Now I'm doing all the dishes. Now I'm putting away all the food from lunch. Oh, I should probably throw some of this food out. While I'm throwing it out, let me just take the trash out. While I'm taking the trash out, oh, I might as well put this pile of stuff for Goodwill in my car. I might as well just take it to Goodwill, and then it's 8 p.m. and you've done nothing. Not that I've done that before. So just trust me on that one. Make your lunch the night before. Tip number 8 is still about lunch. So at the office, lunchtime is the time of day when you get to shut your brain off of work for a little bit, maybe socialize if you have coworkers. I wouldn't know about that. So for me, how I kind of replicate that is lunchtime is my time of day when I get to watch YouTube videos, scroll through all the stories that I've been missing all morning, watch my friends' stories about the news, read the news, scroll through my social feeds, text people, do a little Hinge swiping. The one thing I'll say though is if you are going to be watching YouTube videos, scrolling your socials, I recommend setting a timer because it can be really easy for that lunch break to turn into 2 hours and you don't even notice. Set a timer, act as you would at the office with your lunch break, and then get back to work. Speaking of timers, tip number 9 is called Toggle. It's a website. It's free to use. I mean, you can pay for extra things, but I just use it for free. And it's a time tracking website where you can start and stop a timer really easily throughout your day. And you can get super complicated with it and add like clients and tasks and things like that if you are using it for like billing purposes, if you're a freelancer. But you can also just use it to make sure you're getting enough work done during the day. So especially these first couple of weeks while you're still getting used to things, I recommend starting it when you start working and stopping it when you stop to, say, take your dog out. Because it can be very tempting to do little tasks around the house during your workday, and I think you're going to be surprised how much time those actually take away from your workday. I'm not saying you can't do those tasks while you're at home, I just would recommend a timer so that you have a general idea. It can just be really eye-opening how long those things take out of your day. Now, speaking of household tasks and chores, some of y'all, and you know who you are going to need to make a rule that all chores need to be done after 4, 5, 6 p.m. whenever your workday ends. Personally, I like to break my day up more and do little tasks throughout the day, but I do that knowing it means I'm gonna have to work an hour or two before I go to bed that night. So if you're the type of person that just wants to be done with work by 4 p.m., you need to make it a rule that no housework gets done until night. And if you're one of those people who like can't focus because things around them are messy, can't relate, but I know that's a lot of you, then you need to make sure that things get picked up and cleaned up the night before so that during your workday you are not doing housework. Personally, my day's set up usually kind of like I work 4 to 5 hours in the morning. In the afternoon, I go run errands while things aren't as busy. I do housework while I have the motivation. And then I work the rest of my day at night. Those are on days when I like don't have plans with friends after work. But I think a lot of you, especially at the beginning, are going to want to stick to a pretty normal work schedule. So identify which one you are and then make rules if you need to. Tip number 11. While you're on your lunch break is a great time to take your dog for a walk. When you're home, pets can actually be quite distracting, so taking them for a walk in the middle of the day kind of wears them out and gets you outside, gets you into the fresh air. Maybe you'll see some people, you'll get moving a little bit more, and then hopefully your dog will just nap the second half of the day instead of constantly dropping a tennis ball on your lap. Tip number 12 is on my personal Instagram. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about like catching up on Netflix shows and things like that while they're working from home. I would not recommend this. If you wouldn't watch Netflix while you're at the office, I wouldn't watch it while you're at home. Now, there are definitely tasks throughout my workday that are just kind of like I need to make the thing and I don't really need to be thinking. So sure, I'll throw on some Netflix or some YouTube. But I would do that at the office also. If I'm like in the studio or something, I would just have something playing in the background. If you need to be paying attention to what you're doing, and you wouldn't be watching something anyway, working from home is not really the time to start binge watching Netflix shows. I mean, if you have the freedom and the flexibility to do that with your job, go for it. But if you're trying, and I assume by watching this video, it means that you are trying to stay super productive and, and still just like go in full force during your workday, I would not recommend Netflix. Netflix is for nighttime. Tip number 13 has to do with like cabin fever and feeling lonely and everything. And this isn't something I would recommend right now given the coronavirus state that things are in. But in the future, if you're watching this video in the future and you're still working from home, I'm going to kind of lump 3 things into one tip. So ways to not feel so isolated. Find other people who are working from home. It's really common nowadays for places to let employees work from home at least maybe one day a week. Find friends who also work from home and go work at each other's houses together. You don't have to spend money and go to a coffee shop. You can work with other people just in your apartments or your houses. Tip number 2 that I again wouldn't recommend right now, but in the future, is to get out of your house, go to coffee shops, look into co-working spaces. Co-working spaces are/were great for just like being around other people who are working. It's so helpful for productivity, and it makes you feel like you have an office to go to if you're like a freelancer who doesn't have an office. It's really expensive to do a co-working space every single day, but you can get memberships where you just go in a couple times a week. And the nice thing about co-working spaces is you can be there all day long. It's not like a coffee shop where you feel like you need to keep buying things or that you can only stay a certain number of hours. And they just have like a lot of events and amenities, and it's a great way to network and meet other people. Libraries are a really great option if you don't want to spend the money on a coffee every day. And the third that is lumped lumped under the I wouldn't recommend it right now, but in the future category, is to be really diligent about making after work plans with your friends. It's incredibly bad for my mental health if I go too many days in a row without social interaction, and I don't get social interaction from my job. I am alone almost all the time. Even when I go into the office, I don't really have like a team or coworkers. This sounds so sad. But it's just the reality of my job right now. So I am really diligent about having plans with friends after work and on the weekends, especially weekdays. I've got a weekly Monday night bachelor night with my friends, and if it's not a bachelor time of year, we do something else. We have a schedule. We have a Google Doc where like every Monday night we go to like a different brewery or a restaurant. And it's just something that's like always on the calendar. You don't have to plan it every week. We just always do this on Mondays. In the summer, I do like a kickball league on Wednesday nights. And then there's just like random getting dinner with friends, getting drinks with friends, having people over. You don't have to spend money. Make dinner at someone's house together. Once this all hopefully blows over soon, if you are still working from home, I just hope that you make it a high priority to socialize. If you're someone with a family, do things with your family. Take them out of the house, go to the park, go visit relatives. Just like make it a point to socialize. Because trust me when I say, it is just not good for your mental health to be in your home all day, every day, 24/7. Run errands, go to the grocery store, even working out. I could work out at home, but I use that as my time to get out of the house. So I have a Core Power membership, I go to classes, it gives me a reason to get out of the house. Okay, I'm just looking through my phone and I don't even remember what number we're on, but I'm just gonna answer a couple more of these really quickly. So someone said, good snacks. I fall into bad habits when I work from home. I mean, I feel like it's kind of hard to give snack recommendations because I don't know what you like and you might not like what I like, but I like to always have like baby carrots on hand, apples with cheese or peanut butter, like healthy snacks. Just make it a priority to have those on hand if you can, so that you don't just go grab the bag of chips, you know? I don't know, if I think of good snacks, I'll share them on my Instagram stories. Because I am definitely a snacker. I eat all day long. Another one said, how do I get myself to do the work? I'm procrastinating so hard. I hope that a lot of my tips throughout the rest of this video help with that a little bit, but overall, I would just say, try to set up a space in your home that is your workspace, that feels like a desk, that feels like your desk at work, where you can't even see distractions. You can't see your pile of laundry. You can't see the dishes. You can't see your phone. You can't see your books that you want to read. And make these like rules for yourself. Write them down if you need to. If you have like a partner, have them hold you accountable. I feel like something about making things into a rule, even though it's set by yourself, just makes it like, oh, we don't do that because that's the rule. Like, I don't go in my bed during the day. I don't have my phone out here. I keep it in the other room because that's my rule for my work day. And someone else said how to not get distracted with Netflix, books, my couch right at my fingertips. Yeah, just make rules for yourself. Like personally, I do work from the couch because I like to move around throughout the day. But if you're someone who knows that that means you're gonna like start doing something else or take a nap, make it a rule for yourself that you don't work from the couch. You just don't. If you need someone else to tell you, here I am. You're not allowed to work from your couch or your bed. There you go. It's off limits. Someone else asked, how do you like to get out of the house and stay motivated on long days of work from home? I feel like I covered that. I guess I'll end it with this. Overall, I feel like most of my tips revolve around this idea that subconsciously you associate work mode with certain things and like home, chillin', relaxin' mode with other things. And the more you can do to keep those things separate while they start to really blur together when you start working from home, the better off you'll be. And just remember that there are thousands of other people doing the same thing you are, working hard from home. I'm happy to do a part 2 that will probably be a lot shorter if you guys have follow-up questions or things you want me to cover. And I'm sure I'll think of more things too. Please share this video if you think it would be helpful to any of your friends, your family, your followers. And let me know down in the comments if any of this was helpful, if any of this was stuff you've never tried before, if you've tried it and it worked or not. Like, I would love to hear that. And most importantly, if you have any tips to add to this, let's make it like a comprehensive guide of how to work from home. That will probably be the video title. If you're new here, I would love if you subscribed so you don't lose me out there on the internet, especially if I end up doing a part 2. You don't want to miss that. I've got a foundation declutter video coming, so please subscribe if you're not. And please go follow me on Instagram. I am way more active over there. I talk to you guys on stories all the time. I love it. I love you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.